sana po tayo ay makiisa sa halalan sa Amerika ngayong araw na ito. Tayo po ay ipakita natin sa kanila ang lakas ng pwersang Pilipino. Not too long ago, in fact, last month, Filipino-American Heritage Month, October, and in Carson naman po, nako, nagsama-sama din po ang mga gustong makibahagi sa kasaysayan. That is to celebrate the achievements of two Filipinos in public service or in California politics. Panoorin po natin ito. Although he's not Filipino, California Assemblymember Warren Furutani of the 55th District, organized a reception to commemorate Filipino-American Heritage Month in October and to celebrate the achievements of two Filipinas in the forefront of California politics, former acting Lieutenant Governor Mona Pascal and the first Filipina and person of color to be nominated to California Supreme Court Justice, Tani Cantil Sakaue.
What the right judge does is declare the law. That's what judges do. We don't make the law. We leave that to the legislature, to the experts in the legislature. What we do is interpret it. What we do is declare it. What we do is try to make clear the intent of the legislature. We do not make the law. And in that way, my Filipino history, my Filipino strength, the courage of my ancestors allows me to bring my best abilities to that task. I live with the knowledge that I am living what my grandparents and what my mother and now my late father have always hoped that they could have one day. The sacrifices they made for me to be here humbles me.
Author, librarian, and educator Florante Ibanez opened the night with a roll call of famous Filipinos in American history.
When is the last time you heard of a Filipino-American hero? Was the name Bobby Balsena, who came from San Pedro High, who was recognized as our first Filipino-American Major League Baseball player? Or was it Lariat Leon, Philip Vera Cruz, or Pete Velasco, who co-founded the United Farm Workers Union with Cesar Chavez? Maybe you heard of Vicky Manalo Draves, who won 2 gold medals in the 1948 Olympics in London. We have some recognizable names in entertainment with Lou Diamond Phillips, Rob Schneider, Dante Basco, and my favorite, Tia Carrera. Last July, I had the opportunity to meet an author and retired Rear Admiral, Connie Mariano, who grew up in San Diego and was the White House doctor for almost a decade to both Presidents George W. Bush and Bill Clinton and their families. Ben Cayetano, who attended our local Harbor Community College, UCLA, and then Loyola Law School, where I work, rose to be Hawaii's 5th state governor. But we are here to honor our newest heroes in public service. I've had the pleasure of knowing Mona for a long time and just met Tani today. But their stories are what our pioneers, our manongs, a term of endearment and respect for an elder, believed in when they first came here in the early 1900s. The American dream of being able to rise up from humble beginnings.
Pascal also shared her story and talked about what she learned from her Filipino upbringing.
That time in the lieutenant governor's office was phenomenal. But I'll tell you about a man that I met when I was giving a speech. It's a very stately man who came up after I gave a speech in Vallejo. And he introduced himself as Victor. He was a valet in the White House for President John F. Kennedy. I was floored with his presence. And he said to me, in those days, we were behind the curtain. No one knew we were Filipinos. No one knew who we were. They knew us by our first name. The responsibility that you have, Mona, and by this time I'm shaking. Yes, Mama, Victor. Is that you're on the other side of the curtain. Make us proud. And in that instance, I thought about my grandparents. I thought about them thinking, and wishing the best for us, and wishing that they were here to celebrate that moment with me, knowing that they were, wishing I could touch them and say, I'm on the other side of the curtain. And it means a lot, because what it did in that moment, and just those words and just that look, was that it's so important for all of us to celebrate who we are, celebrate our families, know our stories, know that we were from Tilingting, Siquijor, or Dumanhog, Cebu, know the struggles, know all of our relatives when they came here, how they got here, whether they worked in a plantation in Hanapepe, Kauai, or whether they worked in the Central Valley. Know your story, and don't keep it to yourself, but pass it on. Pass it on to our children, pass it on to your friends, because the Filipino community is part of a very rich, rich tapestry in this state and in this country.
Such a proud moment, proud night for Filipino Americans. We have more speeches, inspiring and very encouraging speeches for you when we return on the show. Don't go away.